Surely this is exactly the problem, though. There's one thing actually holding the summit, and then another thing actually fear that Harry will just go off and even if they do hold this, it will actually be a conversation that is worthwhile in any way, or will the king just be constantly worrying about what he says with every single word?
No, I think you're right. I think they have to reset relations from this point onwards. I think what will definitely happen, in fact, is that they will lay some ground rules for communication from now on. And, Harry cannot repeat what goes on in these private conversations because, Harry really wants reconciliation and he wants to be able to freely speak with his father. At the moment, he can't even get hold of his father. There is zero contact. He can't get through to him on the phone. He has to go through aides. So I think he'd be willing to meet those demands. And it's a pretty simple demand. It's, if I chat to you, can you please not, have it leak out on Oprah Winfrey,
This is not Prince Harry coming crawling back, as the toxic commentators would love you to believe. No, this is a peace gesture, a signal of maturity, a symbol of evolution. This is a man who is carving out a path of dignity while still holding on to his independence, something the royal firm has never been comfortable with. Let's also make this abundantly clear. Harry doesn't need the royal family. He doesn't need their machinery, their approval, or their archaic systems of control. He left that behind with courage, and together with Meghan, he has built a life that reflects authenticity, compassion, and purpose. What this diary-sharing gesture shows is that Harry is a grown man who doesn't hold petty grudges, unlike some others we could name. Let's talk about the backdrop here. Earlier this month, there was a secret sit-down meeting in London between representatives of Prince Harry and King Charles. That alone is huge. These are not casual texts or last-minute phone calls. This was a coordinated, deliberate meeting of senior team members. Harry's head of household in California, Meredith Maines, sat down with the King's Director of Communications, Tobin Andrea. That's not gossip, that's diplomacy. Also present, Harry and Meghan's UK-based PR chief, Liam Maguire. That's a power table, y'all. These weren't just empty gestures or PR optics. This was a strategic meeting, and the fact that they kept it private until now, that shows respect, that shows boundaries, that shows professionalism. And yet, what do we see from the toxic tabloids? Oh, just the same tired spin. They try to twist this move, Harry's desire to avoid conflicting engagements with the royals, into some kind of surrender. But that is laughable. Let's call it what it is. Leadership. Harry is trying to minimize conflict, prevent overshadowing, and create the space for cooperation if, and only if, it's on equal terms. Do you all remember when Harry recently made his deeply emotional trip to Angola? A trip rooted in the legacy of his late mother, Princess Diana? That trip didn't just tug at heartstrings, it dominated global headlines, and rightly so. Meanwhile, Queen Camilla's 78th birthday portrait got buried in the back pages. Is that Harry's fault? Absolutely not. But what did the palace do? Did they celebrate Harry's humanitarian work? Of course not. They fumed, they whispered, they planted stories about overshadowing. And now that Harry is proactively offering to coordinate his public engagements to avoid these awkward overlaps, they're still complaining? Let's be honest. They don't want cooperation. They want control. And Harry refuses to be controlled. The palace insiders are trying to spin this as Harry finally realizing that his clashes with the royal calendar were harmful. No, this is Harry realizing that his actions carry power, and with that power he is choosing peace over pettiness. Now, let's get into what really makes this gesture meaningful. Harry has extended this offer not just to King Charles, but reportedly also to Prince William and Kensington Palace. Now, I know the press will try to frame this as Harry crawling back, but we know better. This is Harry keeping the door open. Not wide open, but cracked enough to allow light in, should the rest of them decide to step out of the shadows. But let's not forget, Harry's independence is still non-negotiable. The same reports make it clear that Harry will never allow himself to be micromanaged or manipulated again by the royal machinery. He's not returning to the old dysfunctional system, he's just letting them know where he stands. And it's on solid ground. You know what's really rich, though? Some of these so-called royal experts, many of whom have never even met Harry or Meghan, had the audacity to suggest that before, Harry and Meghan relished clashing with royal schedules. Are you kidding me? These are the same people who threw tantrums every time the Sussexes did something remotely impactful. The same folks who screamed attention seekers every time Harry and Meghan used their platform for good. And now they want to act like this couple was orchestrating conflict for sport? No, that was the media, constantly pitching them against the royal household to sell papers and stir outrage. What Harry and Meghan have shown, time and time again, is that they respect the platform they have. And that includes making calculated, compassionate choices that don't hurt others. But they won't be silenced. They won't dim their light just to avoid stepping on royal toes that are always looking to be stepped on. Now let's talk logistics. This so-called grid of events that Harry's team is sharing with the palace. It's not a leash, it's a calendar. It's a grown-up tool that allows for adults to avoid unnecessary drama. Imagine that. And yet even that is somehow controversial to some folks in the UK press. They want Harry to fail. They want Meghan to disappear. But what they got instead is a power couple that keeps rising, keeps leading, and now is even offering an olive branch while standing tall. Let's be clear, Prince Harry is not the problem. He never was. The problem was the culture of silence and complicity within the palace. The problem is the obsession with hierarchy over humanity. The problem is a royal press machine that needs villains to justify its existence. And Harry broke out of that, with Meghan by his side, and they've been vilified for it ever since. This gesture isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of transcendence. And I find it particularly telling that when the Sussexes reps were contacted for comment, they declined to say anything, because you see, they're not playing that game anymore. They're not here to fuel headlines or chase validation from institutions that betrayed them. Meanwhile, the palace also stayed silent. And that silence? That says a lot. Maybe they know this is an opportunity, or maybe they're just too proud to admit that Prince Harry is now the bigger person. And Meghan, let's not forget her role in all of this, the strength, the support, the grace. She's the anchor, the one who helped Harry find the courage to face the world on his terms. And you better believe this kind of diplomacy didn't happen in a vacuum. Meghan and Harry are a unit, always have been, always will be. So let's lift them up today, squad. Let's celebrate Prince Harry for being a peacemaker without being a pushover. Let's honour Meghan for always standing by him, no matter how loud the noise gets. And let's remember, they are rewriting the rules. With dignity, with intention, and without apology. If you believe in love, growth, and choosing peace without compromising your worth, drop a comment below and let's light up the algorithm with positivity for Harry and Meghan. Prince Harry makes significant gesture towards deconflict with the royal family. The move may allow for cooperation on engagements between Buckingham Palace and the Sussexes. Prince Harry has offered to share his diary dates with the royal family in what appears to be part of moves towards rapprochement with his father, King Charles. The gesture follows a meeting in London between representatives of the feuding father and son for peace talks earlier this month. Harry's offer is believed to be a bid to deconflict his engagements with that of the royal family, should he and the king wish to fix a date to meet face-to-face. The offer has also reportedly have been extended to Prince William and Kensington Palace. As well as clear space for future meetings, Harry's peace gesture would also avoid embarrassing overlaps between the Sussex camp and the royals at home. Before that meeting between their aides in London, conflicts of interest or clashes of publicity were relished and even perhaps encouraged by the Sussexes, a source characterised .now. Harry has shifted into a new way of thinking. The tone is now all about deconflicting with his family, they explained. This was seen recently as Harry's emotional trip to Angola earlier this month dominated news coverage. His trip almost totally overshadowed the unveiling of Queen Camilla's 78th birthday portrait. That's why his household agreed to draw up a grid of his activities and share them with Buckingham Palace and by extension with Kensington Palace, the source told the Daily Mail. However, the insider cautioned that the Duke of Sussex would closely protect his independence, despite the gesture. Harry still doesn't like being controlled by the royal machinery, and that won't change, they explained. Instead, it would most likely allow the royal family to have full sight of the Duke's plans and plan accordingly. It's a significant gesture, the source concluded. It is unknown if Harry's apparent peace offering would keep the royal family in the loop with off-diary engagements, such as his recent secret trip to Botswana. Representatives of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex declined to comment on the suggestions. GB News has also approached Buckingham Palace for comment. The latest whispers of rapprochement between Prince Harry and the King followed the revelation that their representatives had met in secret. Tobin Andrea, the King's Director of Communications, sat down with Meredith Maines, head of Harry's household in California, at the Crunch Talks earlier this month. Harry and Meghan's PR chief in the UK, Liam Maguire, was also present at the meeting. The sit-down, which occurred on July 13th, was held a short distance from the King's London residence of Clarence House at the Royal Overseas League, a private members' club. And before we go, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you never miss a drop of truth. And if you love what we're doing here at the Royal Sussex Squad, smash that super thanks button to show your support. Every contribution helps us keep speaking truth to power and uplifting the voices that matter. Until next time, stay strong, stay smart, and always stay Sussex.